Hi Aries, and welcome to your energy forecast for the week beginning the 8th of May 2017. What are the energies, the potential energies surrounding Aries, the zodiac sign of Aries, for the week of the 8th of May 2017? We have the King of Pentacles, the Two of Pentacles, the Ace of Cups, the Ace of Pentacles, the King of Cups, the Five of Swords, the Seven of Wands, the Eight of Swords, and the Chariot. So the first card we come in with is the King of Pentacles. In this deck he can refer to a Capricorn, so maybe we have got a Capricorn around us at the minute. But he talks to earth energies in general, Taurus, Capricorn and Virgo. It can be someone else, or we can be in our very rooted, grounded, everyday routines. He's a career man. He's usually the owner of his own business. He's very family orientated, very realistic. He likes the finer things in life, and he likes to provide the finer things. He can talk to the Capricorn, as said, and he could quite literally be another person. But I think it's as grounding and putting stable foundations, setting stable foundations for something we want to move forward on in plans. And he sat right next to the Two of Pentacles. Now the Two of Pentacles can talk about times being hard and having to balance finances. It can talk about juggling lots of responsibilities. It can talk about always needing to find balance between all aspects and areas of our life. But it also does talk about a choice that needs to be made, because juggling everything as we are at the minute is not the way forward. We have to make a choice to move forward in one of the two options that are available in the physical environment around us. What this guy tends to do is look at each option, juggle it again, look at it again, juggle it again, look at it again. And no matter how many times we're looking at it, we're not getting any further forward. The King of Pentacles takes the action and moves forward. We're coming away from the Two of Swords energy. So we're needing to face and make this decision about, take a decision about these two options that are in front of us. The Two of Pentacles does talk about paying attention to the finer details in any financial arrangements or offers that are about at the moment. Look for the long-term benefits and not the short-term gains. And next to that we have the Ace of Cups. Now the Ace of Cups talks about a brand new emotional beginning. It can be the start of a romance. It can be the start of a new business, a new job, something that we see the potential of filling, overflowing our cup of love. It talks about our passions being ignited. You can talk of a pregnancy or childbirth, but it can talk of our creativity being sparked. The potential of feeling fulfilled in a situation. It does talk of a new relationship, a new offer of love, a new beginning in an emotional adventure. And it's right next to the Ace of Pentacles, which is a new beginning in the physical, the material, the environment around us. So it could very well be a new relationship. But it can be the start of a new business, a new book, a new painting, a new home. But it's a positive card, pressing a new beginning, as is the Ace of Pentacles that it sits beside. And this talks about the new beginning, but in the practical sense of the word, in the actual environment around us. It can be a new business, very much so. It can be our own business. It could still talk of a new beginning in love, but it can talk of a financial boost or a new beginning in a new endeavour. It can talk of property. It can talk of our security, and it can talk of our creativity. This Ace of Pentacles, this Ace does talk to maybe receiving a gift of some kind or a blessing. We saw an opportunity to generate something that would create more income, or a personal relationship that would generate into more of a long-standing relationship. Aces show stability in these areas. So with the Ace of Cups and the Ace of Pentacles, we are stable where we are. And if we're in the grounded energy, rooted energy of our persona, then we probably are very stable. It can talk about a time of making wise financial decisions, so there may be something, which is this decision here we've got to make, that is financial. And it's sat right next to the King of Cups. Now the King of Cups talks about being caring, compassionate, being open, you can talk to water signs, Pisces, Scorpio or Cancer. But he talks of fairness and empathy. He talks of sensitivity and loyalty. But he talks about a mature commitment. He has a lot of integrity and honour. And it's a card about following your emotions. If your emotions tell you a certain thing, then just trust it. Just follow them emotions. You can trust yourself in this situation. If it is somebody else coming in, which the King of Cups I usually see as in this deck, Cancerian. You can trust their intentions. You can trust it's a mature offer, one that's worth looking at. If the King of Cups is someone coming in and offering a new beginning, you know, it could be an offer of love that physically is in your environment. It changes the day-to-day dynamics of our lives. It could very well be a new business venture, because we have the King of Cups and the King of Pentacles. We have the Ace of Cups and the Ace of Pentacles, so I feel like they're mirroring one another. Maybe we have the King of Pentacles who can support it financially, and the King of Cups has the dedication and devotion that's needed within this decision. But the two coming together of these two characters, if it is in a business scenario, which two kings together would talk about business discussions, it's a practical, grounded endeavour that we're looking at. There's a lot of care and attention being given to it from both parties. Both parties are as invested in it as each other. Now that sits next to the Five of Swords, and the Five of Swords talks to the hollow victory. This is the card where we've ended up, we may have, someone said something and got our backs up, and we may have reacted to it, and it's ended up in conflict. It's ended up in an argument, it's ended up in quarrels, it's ended up in a lack of communication altogether. It's ended up in isolation or unfairness, or feeling like we're in a loss of some kind. I think the underlying energy I always feel from this card is be careful of what we say and be careful of what we think. We can perceive so many things a certain way, and if we assume, we know where that takes us. We can react in certain ways to situations, and really it didn't warrant that reaction. So I always see it that, yeah, alright, there may be an argument. Truths may be spoken, things may be said. But really, nobody's winning the situation, because it has caused an end to a situation. It has caused an end to communication, blockages of moving forward. It can talk of jealousy in this card, and it could be us jealous and reacting in a way that we shouldn't regarding a situation, or vice versa, and somebody else is jealous of us and trying to cause conflict. It can be a card of being overruled or ignored in a situation. But it can also be a card of pushing too far because we feel we need to be in control of a situation. Someone pushing us too far. The advice of it is to stand your ground, but you don't need to respond aggressively. We can still be assertive and just retreat from the situation rather than react to it. And I think that is the advice here, because it's followed straight by the Seven of Wands, which the Seven of Wands does talk about the battles and trials and tribulations to come. The Seven of Wands talks to our career, our creative nature, our passions, our desires. And this card talks all about having to defend them, having to feel we've got to defend them, showing our resilience against opposition, being able to protect from any opposing influences that are coming in. And this talks about very much speaking your truth, speaking loud and clear. Not. Sorry, I just had some in my head. Not running away with verbal diarrhea. I do like to rhyme when spirit's about. Facing the challenges we've got in front of us, without giving the reaction to fuel it more. We can defend ourselves, we can protect ourselves, and we're in a very good position in the Seven of Wands. We've got the upper hand in this situation, so with that in mind, without causing conflict of the Five of Swords or fueling this conflict anymore, we can actually defend what we've got to do. We could be defending another person here. We could be speaking up on behalf of someone else. It's not necessarily regarding ourselves. But there could be confusion and competition over territory. We may have to fight for a certain relationship and defend it. We may have to fight for a certain business venture. But we need to say our words loud and clear in this one, so we're not misunderstood, and be then prepared to negotiate if it leads to the conflict and the lack of communication. Just be prepared then to negotiate after this period has calmed down. And the fives is the energy of change, so it's a temporary energy. We will soon move out of that. And if there has been no communication may start again, but we've got more chance of negotiating with it now than we had before the energy of the Five of Swords. And if we persevere through, we will get the results that we need. Now that sits next to the Eight of Swords, and the Eight of Swords talks all about how we let our mind block us from seeing the truth, restrict us from certain opportunities, and it's all set in our mind. The way we put boundaries on ourselves, the way we will not face the truth in a situation, the way we don't want to see the truth in a situation. It talks of separation, it talks of fear. Again, it talks of no communication. It talks of being stuck, be it by responsibilities. Eights again talk of change, and they do talk of a karmic change. This is when we realise that what we've been doing, we're restricting ourselves. It could be at work, in relationships, or a creative project. It shows that a situation is on lockdown because one is not free to make a commitment, or that we're bound by too many responsibilities. Working through this energy, taking off the blindfold, seeing the situation for the truth it is, maybe what conflicts it's brought up. These could be inner conflicts in ourselves, what challenges we've had to face, and how having to protect ourselves and stand up for ourselves has made us barricade ourselves into a situation. By looking at the situation clearly around us and removing all these self-imposed barriers we've put around ourselves, we can move out of this energy, move away from the conflicts, to the final card, which is the only major arcana we've got in this reading, Aries, and that's the Chariot. Now the Chariot talks to the number 7, and it's on the line of the 7 of Wands, the 8 of Swords, and the 7. Now 2 sevens together can talk of a passionate encounter. So these debates, these conflicts could get very passionate, or they could fuel our passions. But the 2 sevens at the side of each other do talk to a passionate encounter of some kind. The Chariot does talk to the zodiac sign of Cancer, so there could be a Cancerian around us at the minute. But Cancerian time period is anywhere from June the 24th to August the 9th. And the Chariot talks about moving forward, no longer being in a place of blockages and being held back by conflicts and stagnant situations. The Chariot talks about now being in a place where all these things are balanced and harmonious enough. We're not being too aggressive in a situation, which the 5 of Swords can talk about, being too aggressive in our communications, which causes a conflict, but not being too passive in a situation as well. By bringing the masculine and feminine energies within ourselves to work in a good alignment, we can now start making progress, swift progress to where we need to go and what we want to do. So we could very well this week be looking at being in a situation of 2 people coming together. This could still be a relationship of a male, female, 2 males, and a new beginning surrounding it. But there's a lot of conflict, there's a lot of having to defend, and it's causing a lot of anxiety, fear and worry, that we'd rather protect ourselves away and not look at the situation than go forward. And it all hinges on the 2 of Cups and actually making that decision that's in front of us. Now the Ace of Cups can talk to the spring season, and the Ace of Pentacles can talk to the autumn season. So is it something that we want to see flourish through the summer? And, on into the autumn? I think it's definitely a business meeting. A business meeting of some kind with regards financial investment, emotional investment, and a choice has got to be made. Maybe we are in a negotiating terms of a contract here, and we're hitting obstacles, delays and blockages along the way. Some are caused by how we think, some are caused by how we react or somebody else reacts. But in the Seven of Wands, we can work it out, we can negotiate and find the right path out of this energy to get things moving again and forward. So we have 3 Pentacle cards. We have the King of Pentacles, the Two of Pentacles and the Ace of Pentacles. We have 2 Cups cards, the Ace of Cups and the King of Cups. There's definitely an emotional attachment for somebody in this situation. It could be their creativity, it could be their talents. And the King of Pentacles could be a financial investor in this situation. Watch our expectations, I think, with the Five of Swords as well. Be clear in our communications of what we require, what we expect. Yeah, don't expect we're going to get everything that we want handed on a plate. There are going to be challenges, but the challenges that we can come back to and start negotiating and working out a fair situation to move forward with. And the Eight of Swords, look at how we're limiting ourselves. This can quite simply be we are so stuck in our way of thinking or not looking at something a certain way. When we do take off the blindfold and look at it, we are quite open to that negotiation because we see the original thing in its glory. We see it for how it truly is, not what we're blindly believing the situation to be. And we can move further forward. Well, in general, Aries, I think it's a fine reading. Yeah, we have the Five of Swords, the Eight of Swords, which can be quite challenging energies, along with the Seven of Wands. But I think it's one situation, one person this week. We could have 2 options of business. We could have 2 options in love. Just be wary that there's, and maybe if it's 2 options in love and we know we've got to make a decision and make a choice on one, and it is between the pentacle or the heart and the material world around us. It could be a choice between a heart decision and a family choice. It's going to cause conflict. It may even cause a situation where there's a breakdown in communications because people want different things, or because we can't make this decision so it can move forward. If we work through the compromise of the things that need to be compromised from both sides, Move out of the mental energy of holding and restricting ourselves back and being open to what energy is about us at this time. We can pull it all together to move forward. The Chariot talks of travel. He talks of booking holidays. He talks of buying new transport. He talks of activity, movement and positive movement forward in all areas of life. But he definitely talks of that movement forward after a period of stagnation. And we just have to make that choice, that decision to move forward. Walk away from conflicts. Neutralise or compromise wherever we can to be fair and just with everyone. And take ourselves out the limiting boxes that we put ourselves in. Look at all the details clearly. Look at both sides of the coin. Weigh up the options on both sides of this to know what we want and then be able to move forward into next week's energies. With that said, Aries, I'm going to say one more thing. Cancer, the Chariot. The Chariot's dates are June the 24th to August the 9th. I don't know if I've already said that to you guys. Sorry if I have. So that may be relevant as well. There may be business discussions. We may be having business discussions with two men this week. But if the communication can be worked out, so we're not self-sabotaging and self-blocking, and we're willing to compromise, okay, stand up and be clear about what we want, but willing to negotiate the terms from then on. Everything looks fine. Just pay attention to any details in legal contracts this week, if that's the case. If it's a love connection coming together, then again, pay attention to the small details, because it's maybe in the small detail that you find that spark of intuition that tells you it's either the King of Cups or the King of Pentacles. Which option is the best one to choose? Because both options that are in front of you, if it is two different options that we've set the task of and choosing one, they're both really good options. Right then, Aries, have a lovely week, and thanks for coming and seeing me again. I hope to see you next time.